Guys, I know we're gonna have a fun night, and I know you guys are having a nice time, so I don't want to take it all away. But we all came out here for a mutual interest, which is simply the state of Ohio. You know, in the way I look at it, a state is merely a grouping of the people, meaning the people are the state. And first and foremost, that's what I care about over anything. That includes billionaires and that includes corporations. If they're not working in the best interest of all the people, they can go screw themselves. And I've had 85% of a beer, so I'll keep it at 85% of a beer level. But I say that because I want you to know that I'm here for simply the reasons of standing up for what I see is two terrible and disastrous options. The Democrats thought the best they could do was Amy Acton, who respectfully resigned as health director, literally citing that it was too much pressure. I don't care who it is, that is not a person that we want of the helm of the ship of Ohio and the entire economy, to say it tongue-in-cheek, but seriously, a fleet of F-16. That's a terrible choice. Vivek Ramaswamy is a billionaire whose parents are foreign nationals from India. He didn't grow up with deep roots to Ohio. He didn't grow up with people fighting in countless wars, trying to have a better tomorrow, fighting everything from the Great Depression, way back when with grandparents, to just the struggles of building a business. And regardless of what you think of a person, because that doesn't vilify anybody, but it sure goes to say that they don't get it. He doesn't get it, and he never will. Well, he ran for president because, hey, when you become a billionaire and you've not really built anything in your whole life, well, what else are you going to do? You can just be famous by running for office. Well, then he got appointed to Doge. Well, to say it kind of tongue-in-cheek, he didn't do any Doge. Left under odd circumstances. Seemed like there was a rub. I've heard more rumors, but we won't say rumors. And then suddenly gets astroturfed into the governor of Ohio over a year before the primary? That's not natural. So that's a man who, he didn't go to college in Ohio. He went to Harvard and Yale. Got a $50,000 scholarship from Soros family money, despite on his taxes, and you can see on television interviews, already making over $500,000 the year. He took $50,000 from Soros family money in college. That's odd. I haven't seen that done very often. Okay, maybe he's super duper smart. Well, now he's running for the governor of Ohio and cares so much about all of us and our future and our state and our economy and our well-being. Why is it he has no businesses in Ohio? Why is it, despite his net worth, which has raised over $800 million in the last year alone, just while running for office off of taxpayers' donations, increased his net worth $800 million, yet in his entire life, what philanthropy has he ever done in Ohio? Who has he ever helped in Ohio? Has he ever built a school? He doesn't have any businesses here. So why are we supposed to believe, just because he seemingly bought his way into the Republican Party, that that man, or anybody who supports him, cares for one instant about literally any of us? Our futures. Our women, our men, our elders, our children. If we can afford a home. Last time I checked and looked around, all these young guys here, okay, show of hands, everybody here is under the age of 30. Seriously, right now, all you guys. Okay, everybody that's got their hands up right now, how many of you already own your own home or think you're going to buy one within the next 5 years? If you're under the age of 30. Forgive me, you guys. You need to go. So one guy out of how many? What do we have? Half a dozen to 10?
On a 50-year mortgage?
Yeah, no. So long story short, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. One reason that makes it bad, private equity companies and corporations can come in, outcompete anybody, buy up massive amounts of private homes for their portfolio, and this is something that I've seen people do in the classic car and exotic market. They sell a few of the houses at world record prices to their friends or shills, inflate the market. Politicians don't say anything because guess what? They get to collect more property taxes. And then the people don't really say anything in buck because they think they're worth more. And then the people go into debt more because they can take out more loans against the equity of their home. And it's a vicious, disgusting cycle that has two immediate ramifications. One, no young person can afford a home because the market's been artificially inflated by freaks that don't care about any of our futures, that are already doing just fine. The other thing is property tax. That's something that can actually be cut on private homes, and I intend to. The first immediate thing that does is bad. Okay, so if you've worked your entire life to have a home and you've earned it, and now you've retired, and you're living in your home on a fixed income, so you're telling me the stupid government can just keep screwing up the entirety of the economy and screwing up the entirety of lending, inflation, and then letting companies and such buy up and artificially increase the so-called value of the homes, and the property taxes go out, and the next thing you know, elders are going to lose their home? They didn't do anything wrong. So that's just another symptom of every single thing else, that every part of our lives, from the medical industry, education, housing, industry, all we're being is sold out. H-1B visas, a federal issue. 72% of them approximately come from India. Well, what does that mean? That means that big corporations say, hey, we want cheap foreign labor, and we want to pay them less. Thanks for coming to Europe. Yeah. I appreciate it. They want to pay them less. Now, they were nice people. They were nice people. We were talking about some serious things. Corporations can save literally hundreds of millions of dollars hiring cheap Indian labor instead of college students in America who did it all right. They went to school, they got good grades, they went into debt up to their eyeballs because we've let the American educational system, beyond K through 12, become a black hole for nation's wealth. You can take out a $100,000 a year loan, or a $100,000 loan as a 17-year-old that you can't default on and go into a major with no job. That is a complete breakdown of our society and educational system, but that's the reality we live in. So the H-1B visas come in, which Vivek clearly wants to facilitate. One, because the only interest that he has is corporations and his billionaire buddies, period. Let's be honest, because he's never done anything for anybody in Ohio, and he's not part of the culture in any way. There's no roots. But he was born to Indian foreign nationals, two people from India that are not citizens when he was born, and he became an American citizen based on just paperwork, which meets the definition of anchor baby. That's not a racial dig, that's the reality of it. There are no roots. His entire career reflects that. It all reflects it. So corporations can destroy the entire job market for young people that don't deserve it, the young people that are actually from here. And that's not a BS white supremacist thing. That's everybody that's Ohioan. Black, white, straight, gay, everybody's getting screwed by H-1Bs. And Vivek, who's perfectly happy to do it because he'll be an Indian hero. And all his rich buddies will get richer. And it'll screw all us normies who he already clearly looks down upon because of his yearly Christmas crash outs. Because we're so dumb and we watch Saved by the Bell. So let me tell you a moment about me and why the heck I came out. Okay, I'm not a billionaire, I'm not rich at all. My wife and I are darn lucky to have bought a home 5 minutes before the housing market shot straight up in 2020. By luck. And it was kind of a dump. Roof hadn't been replaced since the 80s. It was leaking all the way through before it just started to get to the first floor. Not kidding. But we got out, and I go, well, this is hypothetically affordable, and I can fix it. And that's why we did it. And that's why we were able, because I can use my own two hands to fix it up. So we just barely got lucky enough. And I'm 44 years old right now. But these young men, sorry guys, they're not in a good position, and I want to make that better. But beyond that, I went to Ohio State University, third generation. My granddad went there on the GI Bill after World War II, graduated in 1950, doctor of optometry. He didn't miss an Ohio State home game for 50 years. Ohio! What does that mean? Roots. It means something to me. Because we've been here, we've been trying. The family business growing up was a little rural golf course outside of Tiffin, which has been plowed under, which frankly I blame all the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. How much did that screw all the normal people and all the businesses that are now gone or worse off because of it? A lot. You know, being at the golf course and growing up working there, 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, it's not like Donald Trump stuff. We were fancy grass farmers that threw parties all the time. It was like being a farmer in the public eye. But what I got to do is grow up around all the people, the hundreds of thousands of people I bumped into in my life growing up, and I would hear what was bothering them. Blue collar, white collar, you name it. I saw it when American manufacturing went away in the 80s and 90s and how it affected the small town. I literally grew up seeing all that. And you guys may have noticed I was on Tucker Carlson's show about a year ago before running for office, so I did as a normie because I built a really efficient car. But I bring that up because in it I said that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed in American decades for people. We're all the same. We still want to be able to just build a family, own a home, have a future, build a community. You know the basic things? I think we all want that. We're not even necessarily out to be rich or anything. We just want to live. But can we even do that anymore? Because every part of life, we're just being sold out. I'll give you another example. Data centers. Have we paid attention to Vivek running in the last year or more? Remember him saying, hey, I think Ohio River Valley could be the next Silicon Valley. Maybe we didn't take him seriously enough. I didn't, because I thought that was absurd. There's Cincinnati down there. That's not really Silicon Valley. That's not a big infrastructure of tech. What did that really mean? That was BS political rhetoric, meaning I'm here to facilitate data centers of my tech bro buddies and stick it so far up your tailpipe that you normies are going to pay for it. Why? Well, first of all, they're multi-billion-dollar projects each. It's already like 200 in here now are being built. They've got tax abatements for 10 or 15 years not paying taxes, which is probably longer than the time that they're actually useful for. They're not building new energy generation. Some of these things use the same amount of electricity as a town. So what happens to our electricity bills? Through the roof. We're subsidizing the cost of them. They create a very small amount of maintenance jobs. Very small. So you've got a multi-billion-dollar project that maybe influxes $8 million a year into a community before taxes. That's not reasonable. Heck, the property value alone tanking is worse than that. These things are only a net loss to Ohio. There's an easier way to say it, they're a leech, because they are. They also, all they do are two things. They compute data, and they're a big heater, period. How do you cool them? Fresh water. That's what he meant by the Ohio River Valley. They needed the cooling. Lake Erie. How about the aquifers? Everybody forgets about that because we don't see it. What about all the farmers? If you pay real close attention, you start to see things quietly being talked about rural water rights, which means maybe pretty soon there'll be so many of the damn things that you won't own the rights to the water under your feet or your own land. Did we think about that? You know, the lefties always like to talk about the environment. We get a little tired of it. But the fact of the matter is they have serious environmental concerns. And they're all here by people that don't even live here. The kind of people, for instance, the one by my house, is Meta, Mark Zuckerberg. He found a way to buy darn near an entire island in Hawaii slowly and has got a big bomb bunker there. You think he gives a crap about Ohio or us? No. So why are they here? Bad leadership. See, the problem about the United States of America and our government, we're all on 2 and 4 year cycles. And once people have been in Washington, D.C. and stuff for probably about more than 8 years, there's something called the prisoner's dilemma, which explains why they all become swamp rats. I'm going to say this now. So there's a hypothetical construct. 2 prisoners. They've both been arrested for something. They're both in different jail cells. They can't talk to each other. So the law people come up to him and say, give him an opportunity to snitch on the other guy. If they snitch on the other person, but the other person doesn't snitch, the one that snitches gets a lower sentence and they're better off. And the one that got snitched upon but didn't is worse off. If they both snitch, they're both screwed. But in the hypothetical, if neither one of them snitch, they end up better off over time. Which explains how organized crime works, and it also exactly explains why Washington, D.C. is run by swamp rats that have no one's best interest in mind. Well, Vivek hasn't even had to be in long enough, but it's pretty darn clear that he's only here to take advantage of everybody. Because they say a person's track record and past performance is a pretty good indicator to what their future performance will be. And I remind you, he has no businesses in Ohio, moved whatever he had here to Texas. He's done no philanthropy in Ohio despite his massive wealth, didn't go to school here, created nothing here, and was just gone most of his life before he decided to come back here because apparently he couldn't cut it in Doge. Wouldn't Doge have been a good thing for him to do, save the United States hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars? But he didn't do it. Why? Wants to be in Ohio. Well, keep in mind, I don't even know what it pays. The governor job is one that pays, I don't know, $200,000 or less a year, which is a lot of money. Even if you don't consider everybody wants to kill you. So why is it a guy worth $2 billion wants a job that pays $200,000 a year so much? We ever think about that for a second? Why? A guy that's never done anything for Ohio. Why is it the entirety of now the GOP here has endorsed him? Let's start with Donald Trump. Was that political deal making to get rid of him, make him happy? Maybe he won't shoot his mouth off. Maybe he can be good and we'll just stick him here. Because it was political deal making because he helped Donald get elected, even though it was in his both self-interest. Well, that's nice. What was his endorsement? It was a tweet saying, oh, he's a swell guy. He should be governor of Ohio. Yet the year before, Donald Trump said his campaign is deceitful. Well, you know what? In 2018, I got an award from President Trump. It was a Lifetime Achievement Award in Education for volunteering so many hours not getting paid mentoring young people in the nonprofit I created that I got a thank you. I got a certificate. I got a certificate on the wall with a signature on it. I got a neat enamel kind of badge and a little pin. But you don't get $5 for a cup of coffee. It doesn't help you keep the lights on. But I got that for helping people in Ohio because I thought the American educational system sucked, because it does.
Amen.
Universities have become a black hole for a nation's future wealth with $100,000 loans you can get as a 17-year-old kid for a major that has no jobs. How fast are we destroying the future for universities that have multi-billion-dollar endowments, yet are not investing that to give full scholarships to the people that live here? Oh, but they're perfectly happy to have massive amounts of foreign nationals from dissimilar cultures come in because they make them pay all the tuition up front in cash. How sold out are we? But I'm saying that I did that, and I earned that from President Trump back then, but Vivek's got a nice little tweet. So that's dynamite. The way I look at it, he doesn't have the presidential endorsement. I do. And you just look across the board, every single person that's sold out. And I'll say this too, and I hope you post this because I hope it makes them mad. My grandfather, amazing man. That was the one that graduated Ohio State in 1950. Battle of Okinawa, World War II. Horrible. Great man. Not around anymore. He, way back when, ended up being Jim Jordan's first campaign manager, a congressman in Ohio. And the one time, he was always proud of Jim, because he was young, my granddad helping him, and he was doing a lot of good things back in the day. And I was in Washington a few years back, saw him. Never met the guy before, and I just went up and introduced myself. And my granddad was always proud, said he started his career at my granddad's kitchen table. I didn't know if he was exaggerating. So I went up to Jim and I said, hi, my name is Casey Putsch. I'm Clay's grandson from Sydney, Ohio. Just want to say hi. And he just stood right up and said, Clay was my first campaign manager. We started my career at his kitchen table. Wow. And that was really neat. And I thought that's great. He's been in Congress for a while. But you know what? He endorsed Vivek Ramaswamy, a man born to Indian foreign nationals and is an American citizen based on paperwork who's never done anything for Ohio in any way, shape, and form, has bought his way in and condescends. If my grandfather was still alive and saw that happen, he'd say, come on, big guy, let's go for a ride. And we'd drive to D.C., we'd make an appointment at the Rayburn House, he'd walk right in to Jim, say, how you doing, Jim? And punch him square in the nose and go to prison as probably a 100-year-old man right now. And you know what? Jim Jordan would deserve it. It's time to be honest about what is actually happening here. I'm hot. I'm not a politician. I'm not a clinical psychopath like we're so accustomed to seeing these people with zero emotion. Have you noticed that that's what Washington, D.C. attracts? Yeah, I'm bothered about it because it's our future. These guys going to be able to afford a home? Probably not with more Vivek or Amy Acton. I spent the last 11 years building a nonprofit, helping out young engineers get jobs. They've got jobs everywhere from Lockheed Martin, Tesla, believe it or not, Ford, GM, Marathon, a whole host of startups and cool high performance motorsports and aerospace things. I didn't get paid. They didn't have to get paid to do it. Why isn't education at college doing that? Why is it there's no support for anything like that, but the state will pay $7,000 or more a year tuition, 2 years, and the first 6 months' salaries of people the same age group as my students? But there's a catch. The state will only put the money in if they're a drug addict or recovering alcoholic or born in extreme poverty or felon. So the state will put money into people that have a hard time working or don't want to work, but nothing to better the future. That's the world we actually live in right now. The values that I grew up with military men, from my granddad in World War II, his brother flying F-4s in Vietnam, their father in both world wars, their father before that in the cavalry. The values and the initiative and the work ethic and drive that made this, that's what I'm a product of. That's what made this nation and state so great that everybody wants to rob it blind. The Minnesota Somali daycare fraud, pushing $20 billion. Guess what? Columbus, Ohio's got a ton of Somalis too, probably the next biggest population. They're doing the same game. How big do you think that is? It may be big enough it'd pay for all of the school system in Ohio for an entire year.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But we're getting robbed blind because our leadership thinks it's a great idea to let a bunch of people from a third world nation, let's be honest, this isn't being racist, it's just true, they've never even built a good sports car. Don't worry, Trump said, why are we importing people from places that can't even build a society? But I like the sports car thing. No, but let's be honest. We're letting all kinds of people in that share none of our values. They work nothing and then rob us blind, and it's facilitated by like terminal cancer, metastasized in every level of government. And then Mike DeWine says, oh, it's the price of doing business. No, it ain't, Mike. No, it ain't. The other thing, Tucker Carlson over a year ago, I was on it because I built a car. Obama was lying when he ran. Newsflash back then. Everybody was excited, and young people I knew wanted to watch the Democratic National Convention. I thought Obama was full of beans. I think I was right. He said he was going to help Detroit retool so the energy fuel efficient cars of tomorrow are built here for the sake of the nation and the world. I knew he wasn't going to do it. He's not Kennedy. We're not going to the moon in the next 10 years before the decade is out.
What do you mean we're going to the moon in 2 weeks or a week?
Yeah, Artemis missions. I'm going to come back to that.
Around.
So the point is, they weren't going to do anything with the automotive industry, and we had a financial crisis, and we had to bail out GM, remember? What did we do? Nothing. That bothered me back then. I saw a myriad of ways we could produce something that's more sustainably recyclable and affordable, so I built the car. And I said over a decade ago, it'll get over 100 miles a gallon in 0 to 60 under 5 seconds. Well, I built it back in 2012, 13. I didn't have a voice, so I sat on it for a bunch of years. Well, when Trump was running, I wanted him to get in. I couldn't stand the thought of a Kamala presidency, because if you recall, old Gavin Newsom in California and old Joe Biden want to have electric vehicle mandates. So we all have to buy electric cars for the sake of the environment. Woo. Well, government regulation of industry is one of the mechanical components of fascism, and I didn't like that. So the left can call anybody they want fascist, but they were acting like it in that circumstance. So I decided I better get the numbers on my car and see if it does it and shoot my mouth off as a normie and risk it. Let's hope we get Trump in. So I did. Tested it. First day out, no extra testing and tuning. Got 104.72 miles per gallon with stop signs and turns.
What?
First time, out of the box. The next day I did 0 to 60 testing with 12-year-old dried out tires, and I had an accelerometer and GPS on it. And I ran it head to head with my 93 Dodge Viper, a C7 Corvette Grand Sport, and a Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive with a full charge. Beat the Dodge Viper by 0.2 of a second, exactly matched the Corvette Grand Sport, C7, 2019, and the Tesla Model 3. Not bad. So the next day I ran the math. It's pretty easy to do. Versus an EV. What's the carbon offset of burning a gallon of diesel? EPA's got those numbers, that's easy to figure out. What's the carbon offset of generating a kilowatt hour of electricity, national average in the United States, i.e. what we have to charge electric cars with? That's pretty easy to do. And it turns out, my car on straight diesel alone, which would be cheap to manufacture for the people, has a lower carbon footprint per mile than an EV, completely blowing the leftist narrative. But that's all we are. It's a BS left and right football match on sportsman-like rivalry. And guess who always loses? Yeah, us. The house always wins. They're the house. We hear about the Uniparty. I didn't really believe it, but it's largely true. But there's something positive about hearing about the Uniparty, and I just thought about it one day and I dawned on it. And I hope this doesn't seem corny, because I really mean this. Uniparty, two wings of the same disgusting bird, right? Just one or the other. And that's the industry. That's how they keep power. That's how social media algorithms work, keeping us fighting and divided and addicted. That's what keeps us split apart, thinking we're each other's enemy when we all have more in common than apart. That's how they keep power. But if you take the whole Uniparty picture that's two-dimensional and flip it over from the backside, you realize there's no left or right. Why are we thinking like that? They don't want us to think like that, because really it's us versus them. I read an essay recently somebody wrote about what's going on with fish back in Florida, and frankly, me and Vivek. And they said this is the fourth turning point of a society that's at a crisis point. And it's no longer about left versus right ideology. It's about, are they real or not? The GOP, Amy Acton's a disaster candidate. I'm sorry, the left was completely sold out and just destroying the fabric of America. I got so sick of what was going on seeing with the left in the Biden years. Do you think the African American community is better off for everything the Democrats did around 2020 and 21?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think our relations are better off as people. Do you think the rainbow community is better off for all the political leveraging the left did and all the fighting that's happened over the last year? No. The list goes on. What are we being divided over now? Well, I'll give you a hint. It relates to a little nation that likes to use American taxpayer dollars and weapons to do things that are pretty horrific.
They have tiny hats?
I've heard that. Yeah, and that's a funny thing, ain't it? No, it has more to do with the government, though.
True.
It has less to do with the people. Because America's a whole lot of different people. I don't like Vivek because it's clear he doesn't care about anybody. And I decided to stand up because nobody else was. It's not on my life bingo card to be a politician. I wanted to build a nonprofit in the school. There's no support. I wanted to build a car, to do a startup, to do something. There's no support. The watch I'm wearing. Last year and a half, I've been prototyping watches. This meets the NASA requirements for an astronaut watch. We did tariffs, not just a tax, of course, but to apparently get manufacturing to come back to the United States. Well, I could build a watch company here, Toledo, Cleveland, Dayton, somewhere that needs it. Where's the support?
I'll support you. Let's build a
I like
watch
you.
company.
You can do that, you're here.
No, literally.
Well, then we'll talk about it.
I'll fund it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll talk in a minute.
Building those watches for the American people.
That's what I'm talking about. And you mentioned the Artemis missions. We are going back to the moon next couple things. But where's the
No,
support?
we are.
Yeah,
There is no support.
there's
I
none.
don't know
Not
if
at
they're
all.
gonna make it.
There's
but
none.
that's
Businesses
not
are
the
left to
point.
die.
Yeah, they are.
Say,
They
They're
are.
not supported by their government or anything.
Yeah.
We're left for
And
we're left to fend for
overregulated.
ourselves.
Yeah, oh, I know.
I've
So,
seen that firsthand.
you have.
I have.
And
There's like a Packard
The museum?
company that
I'm
on the
familiar with
west
that.
side, they're trying to build Packards.
Yeah.
And they're like stuck in production because of they don't know what the federal regulations are.
I'll talk to you on that.
But yeah.
I'll finish
Okay,
up
okay,
here.
sorry.
Forgive me, it's okay. I'm 44 years old. I've spent my whole life trying to make things better in a myriad of ways. We don't have any ways to make our lives better, which means we have to fight right now. We have to fight. I'm gonna give you another example how risky this is. I hope this pisses you off because it pissed me off. This is my first beer, so it's not the beer talk. Old Vivek, he's worth $2 billion, right? Well, he's undergoing RICO charges right now with old Peter Thiel, Mr. Palantir, CIA, global surveillance, Mr. Gonna lecture everybody on who the Antichrist actually is when we're like, dude, look in the mirror. And also Vivek's bodyguard was just arrested for federal drug trafficking charges for quite some time. Apparently, fake Oxycontin meth laced with fentanyl. And his wife, I hear, is a school teacher. The bodyguard company with which he's been using for a long time, apparently, are not licensed in any way. So they're just carrying whatever weapons they want in any place with no licenses, which includes federal buildings and schools, etc. So they got rid of it. But here's what's crazy. Our GOP, led by some people at the state Lenin and signed by Mike DeWine of recent, is going to give Vivek Ramaswamy, and I remind you he's a billionaire, free security and bodyguards from our state highway patrol, as well as Amy Acton. You know who's not going to get free security for their life?
Casey Putsch?
Casey Putsch. Why? Oh, it's only for people that are endorsed by the party, even if we're on the same ballot. That's our GOP. That's our government right now. They know exactly what they're doing. And they know it's not hard to maybe incite bad things to happen because that'll scare me so much I won't run. Screw them. I already know everything everybody can do 11 ways to Sunday to ruin your life. And I decided to stand up because they're ruining all of our lives, literally. I'm not doing this speech to be overly inflammatory. And again, I remind you, this is my first beer. That's what we're doing.
I hope you have a second.
I don't want to be here. Calm down, have a little more fun. We'll have
Been
fun.
here for a while.
Well, I still got to drive home.
Nah,
Why, you'll be all right.
I like your style, but I'm not going to take your advice, okay? Tonight. That's okay. So I'm hot. And we all should be this mad. I'm more than happy to talk to you on all the details. Obviously, the data centers is not a good thing to be taken advantage of. We need industry, whether that's tech or manufacturing. The reason manufacturing doesn't come back to Ohio is there are certain roadblocks that make people decide to move their businesses elsewhere. Kind of like Quebec in Texas, right? Yeah. Car manufacturing, etc. That's not fair. Ohio's like having a garage with a fully stocked toolbox and mechanics that want to work and no projects. Well, we don't want a government that just gives us crappy projects with a bad ROI just to keep us busy while we go broke. We need to bring things in. So what's the actual roadblock? That has to change. Regarding the watch company and things like Gina's Garage in the Car, there needs to be some innovation corridors where the government actually creates affordable places to rent for people doing startup companies, maybe individuals such as all of you, inventions, and a little support for things like getting legal set up and maybe even investors. Why? Because I seem to remember a story about some bicycle mechanics, not, I don't know, 100 years ago, that built their own functioning wind tunnel and studied airfoils before anybody did that, and were the first doing powered flight. They were Ohioans and they were bicycle mechanics. But what the heck can any of us invent and do now if we're not already wealthy? How can we make anything better? So it's kind of three stages. If the tech bros want to come here, it needs to be done in a way that's a net gain for everybody, not a net loss and a leech like old Vivek and his buddies want to do. We need to look at the thing that actually lets manufacturing coming back, and specifically what are the roadblocks and why do the big companies not come to Ohio? Because yeah, that exists. The political rhetoric is BS. There's roadblocks stopping it because of our government. And there needs to be support for younger people. Private equity companies and corporations, You don't get to own private homes. You have no business owning private homes. Go make money fairly some other way. Property tax, that can be removed. There's enough waste, fraud, and abuse to make up for where the property taxes go to school, fire, police, etc. And because the majority of school funding comes from property taxes, there's even constitutional issues with that anyway. But the biggest thing about removing property taxes and frankly saving our seniors and making so maybe young people will inherit homes, etc. And it's good for everybody when you guys finally do get to afford a home. It takes the power away from the government. That's why they're going to kick and scream. Because then if they want to fund something, it has to go to a vote for the people. It puts the power back to the people. And the last time I checked, all the state is the people. That's all I want. I just wanted to do my thing and help people out and build a community and a family, have a home, work on my car, my house. Right to repair? Oh, they want to get rid of that. How's the farmer supposed to fix a dang combine when they have to plant right now or harvest right now and it has a computer and you got to go to dealership and they're on the way? That's why they're getting rid of right to repair. Because they, you start taking away for us to work on our older cars or mandate you have to now have an electric car or buy a new car because, it's not safe enough even though it always has been. Oh, you can't work on your computer. Oh, you can't work on your house because, hey, you don't have the right license or something. That's just the slippery slope of control that they always say, oh, it's for safety or regulation or some BS. But it ends up just pushing us farther and farther to the World Economic Forum's vision of you'll own nothing and like it. I don't like that. Freedom of speech, absolutist. Everybody has the freedom to say what they want, whether it hurts my or your feelings or not. And if it hurts your feelings, maybe you should think about yourself a little bit. If people don't want to play with you, go play with somebody else. Second Amendment, you're darn right. Support that. Shall not be infringed is pretty darn clear. And the other thing is law. If you have to defend yourself and you're worried about you're the one going to jail, there's something really wrong with our society and government. That has to change. Lawfare? Send to millionaires and billionaires? How are we supposed to defend against their legal teams that can sue us into oblivion for no other reason than just to make us bankrupt because they think it's fun and they won't even feel it? That's what that actually is. That's not the America that we're supposed to have. Radicalized judges that get to just keep putting career criminals on the street. We all saw Arena, the woman that got her throat slit on that bus. I don't think so. The legal system around here needs some revamping. It needs to go back to what it is for the sake of the people and not corporations and billionaires. Public defenders have too much caseload. If you don't have any money and you have a public defender, do you really think you got a shot against a rich guy? Is that fair? Is that what America is supposed to be? Is that what Ohio is supposed to be? So I'm going to end this because I don't want it to be doom and gloom, because here's the cool part about all this. I'm a car guy and a YouTuber. And we put such a dent in Vivek within a few weeks that they didn't even know what to do. Because we actually do still have a voice. We're not supposed to remember that any one of us can run for office at any level. I was talking to one guy, he's laughing. Because it is actually funny how much we're messing up their billionaire plans. He said, what did it cost for you to do this? I'm like, I don't know, $100 to register? Laughing. Because we're messing up Vivek's entire world and ego for maybe $100 initially. And all the people together on social media, because simply what I care about is what we all care about together, actually matters once again. And it's a reminder that this is actually our land, it's our government.
Amen.
And it's for the people, by the people. Last time I checked, that didn't say billionaire oligarchs and tech pro buddies. So I'm going to stop here because there is a future and there is hope. And you all came out because you knew there was.
Huh?
It's not me, it's us. I have less than zero interest in being a career politician. Less than zero interest. I hate wearing a suit. I've got a suit, it looks pretty nice. I hate it. You can't do any real work in it. I don't like it. And I will be happy to leave. Maybe go be a farmer, because at that point I'm probably going to need to get the heck away from people. But we've got a real shot here, guys. I genuinely thank you for coming out. Ask me any question you want. I will stay as late as you all stay. Except for this man, because I may end up sleeping here. I feel like you know how to party. No. Yeah. One last note before we get talking, and any questions, I'm literally here for you guys. The petitions are over here. Please sign them. We have already met the minimum threshold, but let's be honest, they're all crooked down at the State House. They're going to try to find 11 ways this Sunday to get me booted out. So we're going to get a lot of extra.
Blow them out of the
Sign
water.
the petition. Obviously, we're all here together because of it. Putsch for Ohio. Please tell your friends. Word of mouth does matter. Share this, and yes, donations matter. I don't take cash. Please do so on the website or check. There's instructions there. But we're literally doing this as people. There's no PAC support. There's no foreign interest support. I feel like there's some guys here who know what I'm talking about. We don't need that. But thank you. Thank you. I'm here all night, folks.